This short edition, condensed, is to reveal a deep, hidden secret that Charles Lowe Jr., who runs the Sherwood Truth Ministry cult, for a long time has been trying to sweep underneath the rug to hide of himself, that would expose who he is, of how much of a chameleon, of a shape-shifting snake in the grass that he is. Because he wants to present himself not only as a Israelite that has been debunked, that he's a so him being Irish from his dad's side of the family and trying to hide it and tell many more type of lies. There are more occult practitioners, warlocks and wizards, sorcerers, and such that were in on it with him too, that wanted to be part of his close circle. So he told them discreetly what they were all gatekeeping and trying to hold and keep back, so that they can make their own denomination and make people serve up underneath them, give them money, and think that they would go to like a fire if they disobey them. Showing you the more depths of their deception and their evil practices to keep the true Great Awakening stifled as much as possible, because they know that the latter rain that's going to happen, when it happens, and those who are born again of the Ruach HaKodesh are given a greater measure of power than none of their demonic forces and demonic abilities and such that they have is going to be able at all to withstand it. Once it happens, the people who are in the body, born again, when they receive that measure of power, they're going to have power, ability given to them to pack up all these devils that they can in this land of America and other parts of the world too, if they can too. Because here's the thing, they're all Confederate. They all come in trying to say that they're Israel, but are not. Badu Lion are of they blaspheme and are of the synagogue of Satan. And they'll do everything they can to be your chum, your buddy. Oh, well, that brother, I just need to pray for them and such and so forth. When in reality, this whole time, they've been trying to play everyone, because they know if those who are in the faith come together and pray against them, the kingdom of heaven will answer and wipe them out. I'm talking about, not only reduce them to a piece of bread from the riches, probably strike them and probably bring some divine judgment on them. I'm talking about, getting rid of them for good. Because these parasites right here, they do not belong here on the earth. They belong in the lake of fire, lifting their heads up in torments. Like the rich man who persecuted Lazarus by just barely feeding him at all, and Lazarus had to spend that whole time going through it, while Lazarus, seeing his adversary lift his head up in torments, and see these colonizers, these clowns and these criminals that laugh in your face right now, when When their time is up, they're going to lift up their heads in torments, and finally, enough is enough out of them. Then Yah can receive the glory, praises, thanks, and appreciation for judging the wicked and delivering his people from those who hate them. So yeah, not only here in the Americas, but they know about the children of Israel being scattered to the four corners of the earth. And they'll hire, Caucasians who look melanated. They'll hire people who look really dark-skinned, but are not Israelites, but are otherwise that they are Hamites, trying to pretend to be Israelites, and so forth. They, serving demons, will come together to try to plot and scheme against the house of Israel to prolong their days of prosperity in this world, where they amass riches, luxuries, and waste their time in this world, wasting away on a bunch of nonsense. Well, the children of Israel had to be waking up, so the pivotal time of history comes forth, where the children of Israel wake up and are coming back to the faith. Then things really start to move and shake, because the firstborn is also going to be grafted into the body, those who remain, as well as those who convert. So this is starting right here with Steve Lesperance. First, out of two or three witnesses, let every matter be established, right? So look at this right here. Fringes. He knows about the natives, the Aboriginals, having fringes. The real Native Americans, the Aboriginals. So that's right. If you find out you're Israelites, a true bona fide Israelite, no longer are you Black American, no longer are you African American, you are Aboriginal. And you use that accordingly to maneuver this beast system. Here's proof of Israelites being here for a very long time. Paleo-Hebrew. As well as, let me get to it, another artifact too, bringing forth proof. The Decalogue stone of the Ten Commandments in Moses wearing a turban in this design made of brass or so? Limestone? Yeah, limestone. A book showing so this person he got this information. He hasn't been on the internet for a good while now, so far for a couple of days. Proof of potential Israelites being in other parts of the world here, such as Ireland and Britain, as well as King James, the real version of King James, who's supposed to be melanated, King James VII of the Jacobites. And what happened is a lot of Israelites from different parts of the world would get packed up, brought on slave ships, and sent over here to the Americas. Not just Africa, but also from Europe. The Jacobites. That's what they call them. Sisha Bashir, the white Jesus that they try to force to people for a very long time to get them to worship something other than what they really try to corrupt the minds of people by giving them a white Jesus instead of a melanated Jesus. And on top of it too, try to get people to worship Jesus instead of worshiping the Father. More history at the boundaries of Israel of over there in the east over there, where you have the Philistines land there, for example. The Philistines in the scriptures, that piece right there. Gonna cover that a little bit soon enough. Here's an example of an Aboriginal, a real indigenous American. We know the Israelites came over here, start taking the land, and start pushing the inhabitants that don't belong here anymore closer and closer to their condition that they need to be in. And you can go do your research. There's giants that had their bones over here too. That bull-faced devil, now his hairs are getting mostly gray. And let me tell you, he acts one way in the camera, but in reality, his mind is gone. Cooked. That's no longer a person you're talking to anymore, or someone. That's a vessel full of demons. And their mind's corrupted by all those demons. And of course, he blocked me on the internet, Because Dell, and all the rest of his cronies and so forth, he didn't agree with things I said and done and so forth. And these demons, you've seen these people throughout their generations, they choose the plan of the devil of obtaining riches, the things of this world, instead of being moral and treating others right, so that people can have plenty of food, land, and everything else, including water, to sustain them while they're here in this world. No, these conquerors, being influenced by the devil, they went to the limit. They went so far as to execute as many of the Father's people as possible, as many as the Israelites, as well as his righteous ones too, his righteous people too, so that they can continue their conquest of enriching their descendants at the expense of the righteous being executed and sent off into eternity without a parachute. Seminoles were among the Israelites put into captivity, and there were slave revolts. And of course, you hear about the Buffalo Soldiers and everything else. Now, let me tell you, without the Israelites, the Civil War, the slave revolts, the World War I, World War II would have been very different. The people who are influenced by the devil, who led people underneath them to come over here to the Americas, such as Christopher Columbus, Hernandez Cortez, and so forth. Very few of them, if any at all, will admit that they openly or discreetly worship Hasatan, the devil. And then they set their little headquarters over there in the east over there. And then they pillage this land, slave the people in hard labor, and just grind the faces of the poor and send it to their synagogue, to their temple over there in the east, the synagogue of Satan. And then they turn around and try to bless themselves by trying to call themselves the people of the book. They try to call themselves Jews. They try to call themselves Ashkenaz Jews and so forth, when clearly plenty of them have not been water baptized, born again, and been taught properly. Plenty of them have been treacherous, serving the devil and trying to bless themselves while they curse Israel. And Dell here, he's in on it too. He knows about this stuff. He just sits there and presents it with an indirect narrative. But he's not really trying to tell you. He's just dropping hints. And here's the thing, the whole thing for snow bunnies, Hispanic light-skinned Hispanics, as well as Asian women and such. It's losing its flavor. It's losing its pull. There's all these, melanated women out here, especially Israelite women, who may not even know that they're Israelites too. They're more, the system has tried to indoctrinate them as much as possible. But there's some Israelite women out there who, they got character to them that a lot of these women from other nations, or ladies and such from other nations, do not have. And plenty of them want to pattern themselves after the Israelite woman, even going so far as to do plastic surgery on themselves to try to make themselves look large enough in their flesh, and try to talk and act like them too. It's ridiculous. They go so far as to try to imitate the Israelite woman that they put into captivity with the Israelite man too, and then try to colonize their minds too until they're destroyed in their minds, according to Deuteronomy 28. And go ahead, pause this video here and take a moment to look at these. And definitely stay away from, the chemicals and such. Your body's supposed to be a vessel for a good clean one. And if you're in the faith, if you're born again, you definitely need to get off the chemicals. Look at this other devil right here. This third devil. Clown False Lips, otherwise known as first name Corey Phillips. You see how he's dressed? Got those teat seats on, those fringes, those drapes, and he's got the Native American designs on his clothing. And then look at this right here, right there in front of your face. They'll tell you that there's Israelites over here, that the melanated person used to be over here, and that they mistreat the Native Americans over here. But they're not really trying to tell you anything further on that kind of level. They want you to believe what they teach you, and only that. Because if you go look behind what they're trying to tell you about and do your research and get a revelation and be led by the Ruach HaKodesh, these burgers will mock you. Because here's the thing. They used to be they try to change trends. One moment they were Christians, the next moment they are a different denomination. And when that wasn't making them money, then they got into the Hebrew Israelite awakening and wanted to say that they're Israelites. Man, I tell you, these bold-faced devils. So right here, right off the bat, you have 3 witnesses. 3 witnesses that they've been in on it, and they're not trying to tell you. Instead, they're just like how those who have spirits of Leviathan and demons of Leviathan in them, they're over here mocking you in your face. Because if you knew, you realize, you sneaky devils, got you caught you red-handed with your hand in the cookie jar. Now this next piece of evidence, I'm going to share an excerpt of it. Yes, I still have to, release these 2 videos here. That other version became long. This one's supposed to be short enough. So it's the song Put on the Armor of Yah. And I put that right there because, updated, for context. This right here, I'm about to show you why. The rest of this little addition right here, I'll show you right now. Listen carefully. Because here's the thing. There's a different form of English that people used to talk back in the days, back in the 1800s and so forth. And let me tell you right now, in that type of dialect of English, that form of English, they would say this certain word or this certain title or reference for the Ruach HaKodesh, the authentic Holy Spirit. Now listen carefully. And yes, there's plenty of anointed songs that came from the people who were part of Straightway Truth Ministry cults, but left and still have to get out too. So they were being used for anointing music. Music that's got power behind it, to where you can feel the power. Yeah, that's right. Not just the regular praise music, but that kind of music where you can really feel it, in the righteous way. You can feel the power, the dynamics that it does for your spirit, your soul. Let's proceed.
Put on the armor, God.
Oh yeah, I just consider now why I made this separate, because, fair use, fair dealing, public dominion, and so forth. All rights mentioned and not mentioned, declared and not declared, and so forth. Just in case, so I don't get this other so-called, this other person who got this, song out originally, he doesn't get in trouble and, yeah. So, I'm really locking it in here so that the devil's going to have an issue with me here. You know who you are that brought this song right here. Shout out to you. Bless you.
Everywhere you go, put on the armor of God. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Put on the armor of God. Take it everywhere you go. Put on the armor of God. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Put on the armor of God. Take it everywhere you go. Put on the armor of God. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Put on the armor of God. Take it everywhere you go. Put on the armor of God. Thank you, Holy Ghost. I said, Lord, I need protection from the wiles of the devil. He said, have your Lord's gird about with truth. Take this shield of faith. Take this breastplate with you. And I said, thank you, Lord, I'll take it all. Put on the armor of God. Take it everywhere you go. Put on the armor of God. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Put on the armor of God. Take it everywhere you go. Put on the armor of God. Thank you, Holy Ghost.
Oh yeah, so now right here too. It's spiritual warfare season, people. That's right. All these witches and warlocks. Oh yeah, that's right. Let me mention this real briefly too. Floridian Wallow, when he talked about the flood over there in Texas, that wiped out a lot of land and flooded some of that land, and people suffered loss over there because of it too. Floridian Wallow opened his big mouth and revealed who he was on the discreet down low and code here. He made it very clear that he's part of the beast system. He's part of the he may not even be part of the CIA. He's just one of those COINTELPRO cronies out there, trying to say that they are in the faith at all just because they quote a couple of scriptures. And on top of it too, they go out here and discreetly mention some of these books that and information and so forth, and even try to talk about the people of this land as if they know a thing or two because they're in on it. Him, Dow, his little cronies over there, who are his little close partners such as Steve Lesperance there, Corey Phillips, and a couple others out there too who, one who openly, man, this other guy from One Nation One Power cult, Donald Lane, that lizard. One moment he is a Christian, next moment he is a Israelite, then the next moment he is a so-called, let's just say so-called Native American, because here's the thing. There are some Israelites out there. There are plenty of Israelites out there. Yeah, that's right. Plenty of the children of Israel who are dark, and some that are pretty light-skinned and even very, European looking, because the children of Israel have been scattered to the four corners of the earth. And yeah, they're going to potentially be mixed either way. So just because you have some woolly here does not mean 100% that you're 100% Israelite, of the lineage on that kind of level. Just because you have just because you have dominant genes and dominant blood type and so forth, does not guarantee that you are 100% Israelite. Hey, let's keep it for real, Israel. You still need to humble yourself in this awakening and get away from the spirits of Leviathan, okay? Get away from the spirits of pride. Those spirits that are trying to puff you up and, just try to justify yourself after the flesh instead of walking after the Ruach HaKodesh. So these undercover, slick devils, they know about your history, your books, your records, and they sit there, they either camouflage, transform themselves as ministers of Elohim because they are false angels of light. And worst case scenario, they may even take up your books, your records, your scriptures and so forth, and twist it and cherry pick and select what they want to minister unto you, so they can minister Christianity with all those different denominations, including what people like to call today Mormonism, and especially these different denominations of the Hebrew camps that are starting to look a little bit more and more suspect, I mean, hey, the Father doesn't want his children in all these, religions and all these denominations. He does not want his children in false religion. He wants his children in non-denominational. Yeah, that's right, non-denominational, going forward. So you're not supposed to come out here with your deed seats on, or your robes on, your little church or temple robes on, your priestly robes on. You're supposed to come out here just like, like everyday attire, pretty much. And spread the good news to the four corners of the earth. Treat others how you want them to treat you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And especially be born again. And don't oppress your brothers and your sisters. Don't set yourself up nor set anyone up above you or others, because when you have something to minister given to you, to minister in word unto the body for their preparation and exhortation and encouragement and so forth, even including if you have a revelation given to you, if you have to prophesy, stand up from the group, go before them, minister what you gotta give to them, and go sit back down. That's what Jesus taught. After you've done what you gotta do, go sit down and realize that without the Father, you're useless. You're without use. That you have use because of the Father. You have a function, ability, purpose. That you're not going out here in this world roaming to and fro trying to figure out what to do with yourself, The real you is buried in his son, the Father's Son. So when you are born again at the Ruach HaKodesh, you will find out that the real you is starting to come to fruition over time as you keep moving forward and repenting of your sins and getting demons cast out of you in the name of Jesus. The real you starts to conform to the Father's Son, to his sight, to the likeness of the Father's Son, so that you are going to be prepared for the kingdom. This is what these other books are for too. It's to prepare you for the kingdom. Because if you get stuck with the, KJVs from Genesis to Revelation and some cherry-picked apocryphal, to correct that, cherry-picked apocryphal books, you're going to be taught Christianity and false religion all over again, especially through these Hebrew infiltrators, this Hebrew Israelite camps. You have all these people trying to radicalize you over there on the Hebrew camps and trying to radicalize you in the Christian denominations and so forth. I mean, you got to go straight down the straight and middle here. The straight and narrow that leads into life. But that broad path over there, that's on the left and right over there, it leads to destruction, okay? So go out there and talk about your 613 commandments, so you're going to try to keep all of them while you're in captivity. But you lack the capacity to keep all 613 physically after the manner of flesh. Shall we be precise here? But you're supposed to, in reality, you're the forefathers, the people of Israel, were supposed to keep those 613 laws because they were not ready to learn the good news when they came out of Egypt. So all these laws have to be given to them when they were transgressing left and right. And the generations forth from there had to keep the 613 laws. And when they would sin, then they had to go give up an animal for that sin. So the 613 laws each has sections for the priesthood, for going out there to go deal with the nations that want to, lift up their dukes. Laws for how a man, instructions, and a section for how men should carry themselves, a section for women too, a section for marriage, a section for lands, taking care of property, a section of how to treat people in, slavery and bondage, a section of the feast days as well as the jubilees and so forth. Yeah, that's supposed to prepare the people because they weren't ready to receive the good news when they were coming out of Egypt. They couldn't just treat each other properly. They had to be taught the foundational things first and foremost. And these other books will tell you, eventually, when you read these other books, will inform you so, to some degree, when you run into the right ones. They will tell you these 613 laws were meant to prepare you for the good news. So that's right. Just because you're born again of the Ruach HaKodesh, do not go out there and start eating swine. Do not go out there and start breaking the Sabbath. Do not go out there and start living as if the law's been done away with. That's not what it means. The law is supposed to teach you and prepare you how to walk properly, conduct yourself, give you some good sense, give you some wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and especially to teach you how to love yourself, how to love your neighbor, and how to love the stranger too. Especially how to love the Father who's in heaven. Now here's another major piece of evidence that will expose Charles L. Jr. Or shall we say, this cult leader who's a See, here's the thing: when they come out here in different areas, wherever it may be, either in public or in private, trying to be private, but they're really thinking the funk, Let me show you how fake and funny they are, because they really try to blend in. Look at this right. I'm gonna go to from latest here to oldest, all the way back here from 18 years ago. See, these criminals will try to bury their dirt and try to lie and say, oh, well, I'm not like this and that and such and so forth. Oh, well, that's just allegations. Oh, that, whatever. They're just mocking. And those of you who don't get it and may be simple-minded, have been uninformed, yeah, they're trying to brush it off, but no, they're still the same snake in the grass. What's that one story? What's the snake or the scorpion? Where they asked the frog to help them to get across the pond or the water or something, or the lake. And they said, hey, wait a minute, if I let you near me and I do this for you, you're still going to attack me and you're still going to do harm. You're still going to do your evil to me, your evil works. And they would turn around and say, oh, well, I will train. I won't do that. I won't do that to you. And through the whole process of them being carried on the back of the frog gets jacked up. And, yeah. They get to the other side of the pond, but the frog, not so good for the frog anymore. These demons in human form, these demon-infested individuals, they really think they're slick and clever. And yeah, they may not be part of CIA. I'm telling you exactly. They may not be, but they picked up some certain books, including the occult books. So one way or another, they have the teachings, the instruction, the influence, and the direction of demons to make them very slippery, slick, and deceptive, so they can do their dirt some months ago, some years ago, however long it is, and say, oh, that, you're just tripping. Oh, that, you're just exaggerating. Oh, that, you're just accusing, trying to brush it off, Now look at this right here. This is when they were trying to be a certain type of denomination. Look at this banner in the pulpit right here.
Scripture's not going to do that. First Peter.
Let's see if I can hold on. Right there. You see that? Right here. White screen. Church of Jesus Christ. House of Prayer. Man, these bookers put the Mason in more. Hold on, wait. I'm not gonna mess up here. I'm just saying I'm not saying that they do things and they act like Freemasons, okay? Dow and Rollo, especially Donald Lane over there, to a degree. And they're narcissists, so when they speak in themselves most oftenly, when possible. Yeah, what's his name? Donald Lane over there? Trying to give himself a Hebrew name? Get that out of here, seriously. Just get it out of here. Just stop. So him over there, when he talks about these wicked Freemason bastards, or these wicked Freemasonic bastards, what if Donald Lane is a wicked Freemasonic bastard, huh? Because obviously, these burgers right here behave as if they were never born again. So clearly, they act like bastards in the sight of the Father. So even though they call on the Father, like he's even going to hear them. And they're going to go up here and tell you all these fables, these fantasies, these fairy tales, and try to throw a whole bunch of nothing into their scripture study and such. They're trying to read parts of these books and throw a whole bunch of talk in there and probably go copy people and steal their style and try to present it as their own doctrine, their own inspiration. These are some bold-faced liars and high-level demons in disguise. Because here's the thing. You know how when moral people die, righteous people, lose their lives too, or they cross over into eternity? And including, especially those who are righteous, and they were really doing the work of the kingdom of heaven, including Jesus himself as the example. When they got rid of him, they paid the Roman guards and whoever they can to spread the gossip, to spread the false witness, the lies that the disciples took. They try to say that the 12 disciples took the body of Jesus out of the tomb, and that was a bold-faced lie. But hey, when the power was revealed, a miracle happened where people who are once a lot dead rose up and was alive for a good amount of time to go to their own family members. So people seeing their old family members come back to life and talk to them. Man, people were without excuse. They seen a miracle happen, and these people trying to say, "Oh well, the 12 disciples this and Jesus that." Ha! Get that out of here. You remember when Elijah confronted those false prophets of the devil, and they were crying out loud. They were cutting themselves and doing everything to cry out to their idols, to the demons, and nothing happened. And then Elijah mocked them. And he said, "Hey, where's your mighty one at, huh? Is he fast asleep? Is his ear too heavy to hear? Is he out pursuing?" "Oh yeah, that's right, huh? You burgers don't want to come outside? Oh yeah, I know why. If all the righteous, those who are in the body, and your deceived little cronies over there were to be out there standing outside in public, all of us saying who really is with Elohim, who really is with the Father in heaven, when the Father answers with a miracle, miraculous power, and whatever else he's going to do, you know what happened to those false prophets? That's right, huh? You false prophets. What happens in Israel stays in Israel. And the divine law supersedes constitutional law and everyday law that's practiced in the everyday courts. Yeah, those ever-changing laws that's designed to take away your freedom and to keep you enslaved. So there was a prophet who was designated for a period of time called the half a times. So Joseph Smith, as well as his fellow prophet, who's also tried to test and improve in man, Christopher Nemechik, they brought out some preserved records, some material that they were able to translate by the gift given to them, what was given to them from the Father. heaven to bring forth all this information that was stowed away and kept discreetly so that no one would snatch those up and put the pen to it and corrupt it, And especially the wicked in those generations in the times past, they weren't ready to receive that information, the revelations, as well as the breakdown of the parts of the scriptures and so forth, and things that were going down and such, because they're just going to take that material, break it down, and use it for their own desires, and resist wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and truth. And what did Jesus say too? Do not cast your pearls before swine, for they will turn on you and try to tear at you. They will try to turn and tear you to shreds, tear you apart. So yeah, they'll turn on you when you're trying to help them. They will attempt to reward evil for good. So yeah, when Joseph Smith was sent off into eternity without a parachute, what he learned and what was given to him, and even given to him by revelation, some things he wrote down, and there's certain things he could not and would not write down because for the intensive purposes, because people of his time weren't ready to be righteous on that kind of level. So what happened? People got rid of him, and what happened is that they turned a revival. That's what they turned a revival. They attempt to bring forth the good news with the complete intent of it. They try to take the Bersora and they try to bring it to the people, as well as trying to have the people live to the highest standard in the faith, to serve others, to not put your family before those who are in the faith and others. That's right. Do not put your physical family before others like that. When it comes to consideration, as such, do not set yourself over others. If you got resources, kasef, money, whatever you can contribute, pull in and help others. Help feed your poor, help clothe your hungry. Help clothe those who are destitute of clothing. Help home those who are homeless and so forth. Take care of your own people and try to take care of others that you can. That way you can be an outreach unto others in the right way. In other words, to not be a selfish individual, to serve others, just as Jesus served others. So yeah, after those two prophets were taken out of the scene or removed, they started two denominations, the Church of Jesus Christ and the Latter-day Saints Church denominations. And these two denominations are very wicked. The Roman Catholic Church is pretty wicked. As well as all the other daughters of Babylon. That's right. Babylon has spawns. And it's all these different denominations. All these other religions out here. All these corruptions that started. There were religions that started off good. But tradition and the commandments of man crept in. And it turned into a false religion. Like, for example, the Buddhists, they learn the right things from the prophet Buddha, who was a minister of Elohim. And what happened? Well, over time, it got corrupted. They made an idol out of him. They made an idol representing Buddha. In their own culture, they're supposed to call on the name of they're supposed to call on the Father in the name of their language for Jesus, or their choice for Jesus. And yeah, let's not forget here too. Let's not get it twisted. Let's hit it right there in the bullseye. The Christians were taught to turn Jesus into an idol. They were taught to worship Jesus instead of worshiping the Father who's in heaven. And here's another thing too. Over there, that's right, with Islam, they were taught to also worship, everything else instead of the Father who's in heaven too, to various capacities. Some you hear from gossip, and what's it over there in the East? You see that big old black cube, and people go over there and bow down to that thing. Hell to the no. Let's keep it for real. In their culture over there, for them, they were taught from the prophet given to them. And shall we say he's an Israelite prophet based on the lineage of the dad, right? So his dad was pretty much like an Israelite. There's a book that talks about the history of the account of who Muhammad is. So yeah, Muhammad is supposed to be an Israelite on the dad's side of the family. So yeah, he was informed to not teach the people he's gonna minister unto to not call in the name of Jesus Christ, because at that time he was being put in the world to be one of the times that's mentioned about in the book of Daniel, the times, and half a times. So, in one of the times here, Muhammad, he was informed to not use the name Jesus Christ, and referring to the Son of Elohim, the Son of the Father who's in heaven, because it was a dark time. The Ruach HaKodesh was removed from the earth, and most of mankind was given over to darkness. And you can look at it right now. Look at how people are. Look at how some people are out here in this world. How they're just evil to others and evil to each other and so forth. You have racism. You have womanizing. You have bigotry. You have race wars. You have rich versus poor. You have all these mean people who just think they're better than others because of this and because of that, when there's a whole bunch of pointless things to beef about and so forth. When people are supposed to be getting along with each other. So yeah, when Muhammad was growing up, he's seen people grow up, and he was growing up and he's seen all these people beefing it, the Christians and the people over there in the East, what people like to call, in today's terminology, the Middle East. And he realized, hey, wait a minute. And he started to really search out for himself too. And he was told for that language he's going to be speaking, to call Jesus, or the Son of Elohim, by the name of Allah. And if you go read the Quran for yourself, you're going to realize the people who's doing the writing for him, and the composing or the putting together of all the notes that was kept or gathered together, it may have not been put in a exact order. So when you are beginning to read page 1, the first page that is otherwise page 7 there, it's kind of like, you're going through the middle of it, going through the motions. You jump right into it, like that. Why do I mention this? Because Charles L. Jr., he knows about these other books to a degree, because he's got a Quran in his little collection. In one of his videos, he mentions about reading. That's right, learning from the Quran. And on top of that video too, does he show a KJV? If that's what it is correctly, like a KJV 1611 or a regular KJV or so. This devil right here also shows that he has a satanic Bible. When you see a burger like that, a devil, have a satanic Bible, and they're not ashamed to even show it, and they make all these excuses, well, this and that and such, and trying to brush it off. No. That guy right there, let's just keep it discreet. He's a New Age teacher. That's right. He's a New Age agent. Like brainwaves. The song I. Yeah, New Age teacher. Trying to take the best elements from all these other books he can get a hold of and really spin it and do some serious witchcraft and casting spells on people. Man, these burgers gotta burn for all their lying, deceiving, deception, and trying to keep you from learning who you are and who you should be in the faith. They're doing everything they can to cherry pick certain books and certain chapters and verses, and then turn around and spin it, twist it, and mess it up so that they can control you, to keep you in their denomination, in their control, in their deception, their delusion. Because you can read the New Testament clearly for yourself and realize that if you're an Israelite, a bona fide Israelite, a born-again Israelite born again at the Ruach HaKodesh, you will not go out here with your chest sticking out, all puffed up, and trying to put boots on the necks like IUIC. No, you're not even going to do that. That's an abomination. You're out here trying to keep the faith, learn, repent of your sins, and you may even be out there evangelizing to people, helping them get converted as well too. But you got these Greeks, these Romans, these zesters, these zesty sodomites who are trying to turn this road into Sodom and Gomorrah on the grand scale. They want you to believe in this hyper masculinity, this ultra patriarchy. Well, let's keep it for real now, because out of learning this stuff and getting that understanding and hearing both sides of the argument, you have to hear both sides of the argument. The red pill community says, well, these women X, Y, and Z and so forth, and the women say, well, these men out here, these guys, they're not really about that business. They're not standing on business. And you realize, what? Huh? That's right, huh? You have all these bewitchers of the truth out here trying to make you they're trying to teach the men how to be zesty, like the Greeks and Romans, You remember those men clubs where they're all manly men? It's a complete sausage party over there. And the women get bashed. All the gossip about women. And all this talk about, oh yeah, how they did this and that to women and so forth. Just a whole bunch of sexism and some sodomite behavior and zesty and effeminate stuff over there going on, Yeah, they're not going to talk about that, huh? They want you to hit on women, but they're not trying to help you get married with a woman and to keep that woman too. No, they're trying to turn you into sodomites over there. In the red pill community, they don't really have solutions like that anymore, so it's losing its hype. So what's being said here? These burgers want you to man worship them. That's how sick and nasty they are. They want you to worship them so hard. And if they're whoremongers, adulterers, and such, and of course they're going to swing both ways, technically speaking, they're going to want to get in bed with it and sow the royal oaks and get into some very detestable pleasures. Because they are full of unbridled lust. They are reprobate. They are given over to a reprobate mind to do all the wicked things that they can do possible. But they want you to believe that some of your books are complete, X, Y, and Z and so forth. These fork-tongued devils. I tell you, people. And Dell is one of them too. So yeah, Dell tried to play the Mormon hustle, trying to do the religious hustle like a false prophet that he is. He tried to, make money off people converting to his version of Mormonism, and then he renounced that title of the Ruach HaKodesh, the authentic Holy Spirit. So, if he was to really make money off that denomination, then what would happen is, even though he makes mockery of the quote-unquote Mormonites, the Mormon denomination, and people who read from the Book of Mormon, he really was just, plotting and scheming how he can deceive people and lead them into his own little religion there. So the Book of Mormon here, let me jump to this detail right here in the Wikipedia. Let me go up here. Right here in the list of books that's in the standard version of Book of Mormon, right there, there's a man called Mormon. And his son, Moroni, or others would like to call him Moroni. It talks about the Israelites, some Israelites like Lehi, given instruction by the father to take his household and come over here to the Americas. And he made it possible for them to build ships separate from Jerusalem over there, just in the nick of time, before the Babylonians came in and took the Israelites into captivity, into the Babylonian captivity. And there was a few others, just a few, some here and there, who managed to come out from among them and come over here to the Americas or be separated from them so that they don't get taken away in the conquering of Jerusalem. So Lehi took his household, including his that would include one of his 4 sons, 2 of them being righteous, and Nephi being the example who was believing and having faith, while his 2 other brothers were just wicked. They would here and there be okay, but other times they would just get out of pocket. And when Nephi was designated as the example of the household, well, as soon as Lehi passed away, his 2 brothers plotted and schemed against him to try to delete him and try to take what he's got, because they were jealous of him because he basically got the inheritance, the stuff that they wanted for themselves. So over time, the descendants of Nephi were righteous for a good while, and the Lamanites, from the 2 other older sons, they were generally wicked for the majority of the time over here in the Americas. And then 1492 showed up, and things really started to get wrapped up. Here and there, it'd be a bunch of civil war to infighting of these two different households, the Nephites and the Lamanites. And eventually what happened is that Mormon was in the war. Him and his other son, they got taken out. They went down for the, they went down in the battle at some point. And the Lamanites, they were overpowering the Nephites. And eventually Moroni, one of the few remaining left of the militia of the Nephites, he did everything he can to write down some information, including especially another book that was saved for the latter days to be discovered, and so that discovered by what's his name, Joseph Smith, and translated too, because the Israelites over time normally would know the language of the Chaldeans, then the language of the Egyptians, Aramaic, as well as the Hebrew had to change over time here and there, and whatever version they preferred and choose from, Proto-Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew and such, and so forth, including the version of Hebrew that they developed when they were in Babylon. So yeah, the Book of Mormon, it gives the history and the accounts of what happened over here in the Americas. And as shown to you, these are Israelites over here. And there have been events that happened even down there in the South America. All these wars, all these temples built for reasons, and then eventually, the children of Israel became, plenty of them became wicked and started doing the stuff like in the movie Apocalypto, doing human sacrifices and all the evil practices and just being far deep into wickedness. What happened with them? 1492 is what happened, as well as judgments that came upon them too. Yeah, Christopher Columbus, Hernandez Cortez and such, they brought the diseases and they brought the rest of the nations of the world, especially from Europe, to come and put them in place, really bring forth the indigenous genocide, smallpox, false treaties, taking their stuff, taking their books, taking their records, taking their artifacts and everything else they can take from them, putting them in very small numbers, reducing them to a remnant of the millions that they used to be, and especially put them into captivity, including those slave camps, and eventually try to let some of them out and try to have some of them go into the projects, and especially the ghettos and such. And these demon-inspired individuals who are working for the devil so they can enjoy riches, power, and give praises to them, get the praises of men unto themselves. Yeah, they did everything they can to keep down the Israelites, including especially the Israelite woman there too. Buck breaking the men, raping the women, turning the men and women against each other and so forth and such. They really did everything they can, especially to take their books, their records, and make a religion such as Mormonism, Christianity, and so forth, to try to keep, as well as Islam too, and keep your books away from you. These books that would help you grow, be edified, and be more prepared and perfected for the kingdom, and how to treat others properly, and how to carry yourself. Because the scriptures itself will, for example, teach you to a degree how to treat the women, and Proverbs 31 talks about a virtuous wife, and she would have a trade. She's a businesswoman. She's got connections. And there's this other book I learned from that's connected to the Book of Mormon here at a certain angle, at an adjacent angle. And yeah, women throughout history were treated very bad. Grape, womanizing, and the wicked males out here, they would plot and scheme against them so they can use them for their bodies, take advantage of them, and so forth. And in the latter days, it was prophesied too in that other book that in the latter days there will be more selfish people born in the world who would have a selfish nature or selfish soul, as well as weak people of a weak spirit that won't be able to, will lack the willingness to have self-autonomy and make choices for their own, to have strength. And then not forgetting here too, there'll be other spirits that would show up like selfishness, a weak spirit, for example, spirits that make someone have a weak character about them, a weak nature, as well as spirits of lust. And including, shall we not forget, different type of Ahab spirits where there's going to be all these technologies out here and so forth, like, television, Netflix, HBO, movies, video games, arcade games and stuff like that, smartphone games and so forth, and all this other nonsense out here, and filth and junk, including corn and so forth, just to pollute the minds of people with all these instant pleasures, to keep them deceived and chase the things out of the world instead of seeking salvation and keeping the faith, seeking to lead the men's hearts astray, making them think they don't even need to turn to that because they have what they perceive as their form of happiness from those evil inventions. Those inventions, the intent of those devices to lead them astray and make them err greatly in their morality, and from whatever seed of faith they had or whatever was taught to them, and even if they were 100% uninformed, to try to keep them as much as possible from turning to the faith of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So let's stop by Amazon here. I was supposed to introduce this in the very end of the long version that was made here. That wasn't going to be feasible because if I put the two videos together, the two chunks together, yeah, it would just mess it up. It would be tough to make it fit. And let's go to this right here. This is the triple combo right here. The Book of Mormon, recorded by the Man of Mormon himself, as well as everything else he got a hold of. Doctrines and Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price. These are also supposed to give you further knowledge and understanding of the scriptures, as well as other things that are to be understood and revealed and in detail. And again, the LDS Church, as well as the Church of Jesus Christ. This is other book I've learned from. Those organizations are very wicked. What you've seen on the surface level, that's a good start, okay, of their wickedness. And let's not forget Charles Dell Jr. He's also very highly wicked. I mean, these things, those two denominations are cults, okay? Let's keep it for real. They run on a cultic level where if people get enough of their religious spirits, that people will talk about, oh, they must be full of the faith and X, Y, Z, and so forth, in their own surmisings, their own reasonings, and the influence of the spirits through them, as well as to put each other in fear of leaving from their evil cults and denominations and such. So those groups, as well as Tao, they're gatekeepers, okay? They're trying to gatekeep all this stuff that you need for your faith. You start off wherever you are, being water baptized, repenting of your sins, born again, at the Ruach HaKodesh. You learn the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation, and from there, if you read the apocryphal books from the 1611, like the Book of Maccabees, the Book of Esther, the Book of Judith, the Book of Susanna, Jubilees, the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Jasher, as well as other additional books out there too, including the Book of Enoch, and let's not forget other accounts such as the Antiquities of the Jews by Flavius Josephus, as well as the Book of the Wars by Josephus. People like to say he's a traitor, but on the other hand, you read it for yourself. There's a possibility, kind of like Jeremiah. All these people didn't want to repent of their wicked ways, and they're just being full of demons, inspired by the devils, the demons, and just used by the demons. You try to tell them, hey, you got to stop what you're doing here. The Romans are coming. They didn't want it to stop. They wanted to mess around and find out, So he from what he records in his accounts, his personal account in the book, in the Roman War, he got off the hook. And what's his name? Vespasian, as well as his son Titus, they got him off the hook. They got him off the hook and let him record the stuff so that it would not be lost. And then when you're ready, down the road at some point, you run into the Book of Mormon, as well as Doctrines and Covenants and the Pearl of Great Price. Eventually, it's going to start to tie in here. And again, you'll find the discrepancies because the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation and Doctrines and Covenant, the Book of Mormon, and so forth here, that right there has had the pen put to it. And let's not forget this one right here too. Because this right here is also a public book. That's right, this book right here, the Quran, written by the other prophet, and Charles Dow Jr. trying to gatekeep that by saying that he would refer to the Quran, trying to say, he is trying to justify getting married to teenagers, trying to justify his intents to marry teenage ladies, or females, or teenagers who are developing into women, just so they can for carnal reasons, for the wrong reasons, for the evil intent. And there's this other book I learned from, I'm again referring to discreetly. Mary, she was around like 18 or 20 or something when she had the miracle done to her where she conceived the body of Jesus. And it was not It was not a ordinary body. The body was patterned like unto the bodies people are supposed to receive when they are righteous and they serve and receive a new body. That's why, in part, the body of Jesus was able, by his spirit, him being that body, as well as the Ruach HaKodesh, to do the multitude of those miracles, including walking on water and so forth. So yeah, that's a bonus right there too. Tao double exposed. Two of his secrets exposed on a big level, especially the Book of Mormon. He tried to make money off the Mormon movement. It wasn't cashing in, so he jumped on the Hebrew Israelite awakening, and he wanted to function like one of those black Hebrew Israelite camps. Instead, he has a whole bunch of Caucasians over there on his lands, and he radicalizes them, making them think that he's Moses of this generation, making them think he's a prophet, and so forth, making people man worship him, and manipulating the scriptures, and continually brainwashing people, saying that he must be protected because he's so anointed. He's a man of Yah, and that's pretty much blasphemy, because he's trying to say he is Jesus. Jesus did say, "There shall be many who shall come in my name. There shall be many false prophets who shall come in my name, saying that they are Christ, saying that they are Hamashiach, and shall deceive many, who shall rise up and deceive many." And man, these co-leaders out here who develop a study group, and they're secretly a hate group too. They bring people in, they slave them out, make them hyper loyal to the false prophet who's in charge, and these people will be trained and indoctrinated and taught how to man worship, how to man please, how to be a yes man, a clapping seal, and even to receive the individual as if they're the son of Elohim, as if they're some version of Jesus. This is how bad the satanic deception is. Another book I'm learning from right there too now, thus far on the side, it also talks about, so back in the days before you had the modern day Satanist church and all these different temples of different idols of all the different nations, where they bound onto different idols. Back in the days of Nimrod, when the flood happened, right before the flood, or in the days when the flood was coming up forth, those hundreds of years, and after the flood, Nimrod was enticed by the devil to raise up to reinstate the order, Haman, Menahem, something like that. Where it's basically like the old form of Satanism. And basically it's like the same thing as Satanism, where they want to be like the most high. They want to learn the ways of the devil. And on top of it too, they want people to man worship them. And they want to attain all these riches, power over people and such. Nimrod, for example, he wanted to deceive people to think he was the son of Elohim. He wanted people to think he was the son of promise. He wanted them to think he was Jesus incarnate. That's how bad it was. And on top of it too, he instituted schools of teaching, having his little doctrines put out there of the Order of Mammon, and they wanted him to be called by his little satanic name, or his little title, Marduk. And worst case scenario, he taught people how to speak against the Ruach HaKodesh. So for example, back in the days of Adam, that's right, even before Jesus was around, and the Ruach HaKodesh came upon him and rested upon him, even back into the very days of Adam, the Ruach HaKodesh was available. You wanted to be born again, added to the kingdom, and secure your salvation in the Lamb's Book of Life. Yeah, the power was there available there too, to cast demons out of people and to heal the sick and do miracles. But the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. When a miracle happened, such as family members getting healed and so forth, these wicked people of the University of the Hard Truth, hint, hint, and all these other universities and schools of learning, all these educated people will go over there and start, they will start blaspheming, just like the scribes and Pharisees, in a specific way. The scribes and Pharisees directly blaspheme the Ruach HaKodesh when they were speaking evil of Jesus. But them right there, they were a little more indirect. They were speaking against the healing that people received and the miracles that happened. They were trying to lie on it and trying to make people disbelieve, to turn them to the ways of the devil and turn them from being converted to the faith that was passed down from Adam, even to Enoch, Noah, Shem, and especially Melchizedek, and especially unto Abraham and so forth. Man, I tell you, these devils, they do everything they can to keep you from knowing the faith in the fullness of it, and how you're supposed to carry yourself. That way you do not become bewitched. You resist the devil on greater capacities and greater areas. That way you're able to keep the faith. Man, I'm telling you, these old-fashioned Satanists and these new-fashioned Satanists, these New Agers and so forth, man, this is Charles Dow Jr. exposed, and on additional levels. And there you have it, people. Charles Dow Jr. exposed on a whole new level. His dirt revealed. And yeah, and he really was trying to bury his trail, but we found out he was playing, he was one time ago, a so-called Mormonite. And he ditched that because he wasn't making no money like that. And yeah, he used to call the name of the Ruach HaKodesh, but that title, he used to have that, he had that song made long ago about the Ruach HaKodesh being called by that title. Now he says, it mocks it. And there's another cult leader who towards it, because they got religious demons of legalism in them. That's why they clearly lack the capacity to have the love of the Father, the fruits of the Spirit, and all these other ministering spirits and gifts and so forth in them, because they've been wolves in sheep's clothing, false prophets, false angels of light, and so forth. And this concludes the video. Share this and get this out to everyone who needs to hear this. And there's no need to hate on me, just get it right with the Father and pass it around to those who need to hear it for themselves. I'm not here for clicks and views like that and trying to get all these subscribers and everything else. I'm just trying to contribute. That's right, just trying to contribute and help out. You're welcome, and bless you. Shalom.